So I worked on a lot of projects in 2022 in Unity, creating some of my own little games and a lot of YouTube tutorials as well, but I did learn a few things along the way. So I wanted to share with you my 3 top things I learned in 2022 in Unity. Let's take a look. For years I've been using the same process in lighting in Unity, just using the built-in progressive light mapper or the GPU light mapper, and it's okay. The results are alright, and the problem is it takes ages for you from clicking bake to actually seeing the result of that lighting situation that you've set up. But I was recently introduced to an asset called Bakery, which is a GPU light mapper, and it's kind of changed the way I do lighting completely. Such a powerful asset, and for me what I love about it is just that the speed at which it calculates lighting, and you'll be able to iterate and improve very quickly. So this is available on the Unity Asset Store. It's $54.89, so it's a little bit more on the expensive side of assets, but for me moving forward, this is going to be my lighting solution in all the projects that I create. There are a few limitations on it. It requires a modern NVIDIA GPU, 6XX or newer. It doesn't support AMD cards, and it doesn't support Macs. But it does work in the URP and the HDRP from Unity 5.6 upwards. And I've done some pretty big games: Call of Duty Mobile, Totally Accurate Battle Simulator, and Dead and Buried 2, and many more. Got a full list of features here that you can check out. But for me, it was a huge time saver, and I loved it from the second I started using it. Got some really nice results. So this is one thing I learned to use in 2022, and will be certainly using more of in 2023. And second was Autohand. This is another package from the Asset Store that allows for really great XR interactions. It comes with a hand pose system, so you can dynamically grab objects and the hand's going to form to the shape of that thing that you're picking up. And it comes with many other great features. And it just makes developing VR so much faster. You can very quickly prototype a level or a game idea using this platform. You just kind of drop in the prefab for your system and away you go. Very quickly makes your games look professional and polished straight out of the box. So I highly recommend taking a look at this VR package if you do a lot of virtual reality applications. It's definitely going to speed up your workflow. Again, very on the pricey side at 74 euros, but the time it saves you, I think moving forward, you'll definitely see a cost saving. Again, links in the description, so go and take a look for yourself. And the last asset that I want to talk to you about, which I started using in the later part of last year, was Unity's addressable system. Effectively, the addressable system allows the developer to ask for an asset via an address. And you can do that in the Unity editor to make an addressable. There's literally a tick box, which I'll show you in a second in the inspector, which you can make an addressable. Once you've got that, it can be called from anywhere in your game. That asset is then loaded asynchronously, and then when you're done with it, you release the asset and it's removed from memory. Anything can be an addressable. For instance, you can have an entire scene marked as an addressable, and then when you're ready to load that scene, you load it asynchronously in the background. It then loads up, and then when you're done with it, you can remove it from memory, and it doesn't take up any valuable resources. Another good thing with the addressable system, when it's doing that asynchronous loading, it can actually load it from any location, whether that's like a traditional asset bundle, or you've got it stored in a resource folder. That addressable system allows you to make your games more dynamic. It took a little time to get my head around, and I had to watch a few tutorials myself on figure out exactly how to use it, and I can put the links to those in the description. They're a bit more specialist addressables, but I can show you how it's working in a game that I'm currently working on, so you can see for yourself firsthand what's going on. Let me show you how I've used addressable assets in my game here. This is a mobile game I'm working on at the moment. It's a bit like an idle clicker, but in 3D. And the idea is that you are a miner, and you have to mine for gold whilst upgrading some of your equipment as you go along to earn more gold, and so on. So you run around as this miner. You'll be running around doing stuff, and then you come to like this area here. This is called a cut. This is where you can actually dig for gold, and then you can click to mine the gold, and then you see these cubes at the moment, which is just all placeholder artwork. If you do more digging, you get more cubes, and then you can collect those cubes, and then you can take them to a location, and then more cubes spawn in, and then you create this cycle, this loop, which as you upgrade the components gets faster and you earn more gold. These cubes here are all loaded in using the addressable system, and let me show you how that works. So I have these prefabs in the scene here. Let me just drop it in and you'll be able to take a look. This is what was spawned. This is an addressable, and you have to import the addressable package to enable to use addressables using Unity. And once you've imported that package, you can click on any asset in the project and click the addressables button. That makes it an addressable. You then also have a addressables groups window where you can see all the addressables in your scene, assign them labels, and view their paths. That's cool. Because I'm running around this mine and I'm clicking and generating gold and spawning bits and pieces all over the place, I wanted this to be as performant as possible. I didn't want to keep instantiating and destroying objects and having all these upgradable R assets loaded into memory the very second my game was run. So let me show you what I mean. If I bring up the addressables event viewer, if I dock it over here, let's move me out of the way. So at the moment there's no addressables in my game. There's nothing loaded into memory. This is kind of showing me what's going on. So when I hit play, you'll see that my addressable here for the art for the gold digging location is loaded in. This is the addressable asset for that. The cut prefab, there's a cut. And then if I come to the cut location and start digging, it's going to spawn in. You see it's spawned in there, a dirt object. That's that cube. I'm spawning it in, spawn another one. And then the second I go over to here, so this is all loaded into memory now. Second I get rid of it, you can see it disappears and then new ones are generated. So they're not only are they leaving the scene and instantiating into the scene, but they're also being removed from memory when I don't need it anymore. So super efficient. So if you had an entire scene in your game as an addressable asset, you could load that in when you needed it and then remove it from memory. At the moment, if you were to build this project and these weren't addressables, they'd all be bundled kind of into that build, and then it increased load times to begin with because everything's kind of packaged within that executable. But with the addressables, I can call it from a remote location. I can call that location from somewhere in the project, and it just loads it in when it needs it and then removes it when it doesn't. So it's really good at that memory management side of things. So I'm going to be using this more as time goes on, because I do a lot of work in VR and standalone headsets where memory is kind of at a premium. So really, really useful for that. That's a bit of a whistle-stop tour of addressables. I definitely recommend having a look at it yourself and seeing how you can use it in your projects to improve performance and gain a better understanding of what's going on within the memory of your game. So those are just 3 of my big takeaways from 2022. Looking forward to using all of them and more in 2023 and creating new tutorials for you guys on how to use these things. But that's it from me. I'll see you in the next one.